I have to admit, I'm not the biggest Warriors fan. Matter of fact, I dislike them a lot, but that won't stop me from being honest. There are definitely a couple of tweaks that the Warriors can make to become unstoppable. People think that they already are unstoppable, but guess what? They're not. In fact, they're very vulnerable. They got a huge problem with their depth, and they have not really a good rim protector. You guys may think I'm crazy when I tell you guys what my tweaks would be, but believe me when I say this, as crazy as the tweaks would be, they would be unfair to the rest of the league. With that being said, the first thing I would do is trade Zaza Pachulia. Yep, the all-star leader, whatever you want to call him. I would trade him for Tyson Chandler, since the Suns having him on the trading block. And if the Suns want another player for him, I would give him that too. Tyson Chandler would fit perfectly in the Warriors system and would be the main rim protector. And he's really good at that. Even at his old age, he's still a great defensive player. The next thing I would do is, and I know this one's going to trigger a lot of people, I would trade Steph Curry. Oh my god, Steph Curry. All the 5-year-old kids are freaking out right now. I would trade Steph Curry for Chris Paul and Mo Spates. This one's going to need a lot of explaining because so many people are going to freak out that I chose Steph Curry. When I was deciding who the Warriors can afford to lose, I scrolled through the big four that they have, and I knew that I had to get rid of one of them to make the team the best it can possibly be. Kevin Durant was too efficient and fits perfectly with their system, so I couldn't get rid of him, and especially his offensive talent. Not to mention he has improved in a lot on defense. With Klay Thompson, there was no way I was going to get rid of him because Klay Thompson's the type of player that if his shot is off, he'll make up for it on the defensive end since he's really good at defense too. Then with Draymond, you need him because he's kind of in some very small, tiny, petite way a mini bang for your buck, welfare LeBron James. But no way in hell is he close to LeBron, but he has a little element of him in the sense that he can play all around and get teammates involved. And he's also really good at defense. Then I looked at Stephen Curry, who's an amazing talent in the regular season. Because we all know that come finals time, the babyface assassin is more like a baby assassin. He becomes... you can't even find him. I don't know what it is with him in the finals, but when the money's on the line, he isn't there. On the other hand, you got Chris Paul. Chris Paul, as you all know, is the second best playmaker in the league behind LeBron. Every year, I always say that the only players who deserve the MVP award are LeBron James and Chris Paul. But of course, the voters, the stupid voters, don't understand the meaning of valuable. Now, Chris Paul is close friends with LeBron, and we all know Cavs are making the finals. If you keep Steph Curry in the finals against LeBron, that's a recipe for disaster. Both Kyrie and LeBron love it when they're matched up against Steph, and Steph is a liability on defense. Chris Paul is one of the best defensive point guards in the league. Not only that, but Kyrie and LeBron would have not that much of motivation to drive to the hole like they do when Steph Curry's guarding them. And as for the game of these two players, when Steph Curry's shot is off, you're better off having a rock on the court. Because at least a rock won't turn the ball over as much as he does. When Chris Paul's shot is off, he passes, he defends, he easily draws fouls, he leads, he directs plays, and most importantly, he doesn't stay on a slump for too long. When Curry's on a slump, it could take him weeks to recover. Don't get me wrong, when he's hot, he can drop 50 at any time. But with players that they already have that can score as much as that, why would they need another guy that can score? And you got KD and Thompson. Oh, and did I mention turnovers? Last year, Curry averaged more turnovers than assists in the finals. Chris Paul is the same player that can score 20 points and get 20 assists with 0 turnovers. Do you know how hard that is? Chris Paul would make the Warriors the greatest team to ever play basketball. And it's hard to put any team over the 96 Bulls because they had so many great players and Hall of Famers. But this Warriors team, replacing Curry with Chris Paul, would flip the script for the whole NBA and change the meaning of overpowered. And you'd also be getting Mo Spates, again, who added a lot of depth in the bench. So to summarize, trade Pachulia for Tyson Chandler and Steph Curry for Chris Paul and Mo Spates. I hope their GM doesn't listen to me because, of course, I don't want them to win. And thankfully, Steph Curry makes them too much money for them to even think about trading him. So it's almost impossible that they would do that. Which is why I predicted the Cavs would win. Because as long as they got Steph Curry, who disappears in clutch, along with KD, who also disappears in the clutch, it's hard to imagine them winning. The only way a liability could be worse is if you add another liability.